Forgive that bright light in the back. I can't do anything about it, okay? Just say it's the hand of Jesus reaching down to bless this video. So if someone comes in, just know I'm gonna pause the video and come right back. I'm at work, so I cannot complain if they come in and ask me to do something. But it's been a while since we did a CPAP video. I'm still in sleep. So I asked around just to see if we needed a new video, kind of what were the main questions that were coming in when people come back in for their initial follow-up with their new CPAP machine or auto CPAP machine or BiPAP, whatever it may be. It seems like the main thing that's going on right now, or what the issue is, or the biggest question when people come back in, as long as they're not struggling with any form of their therapy. So we're bypassing there being a mask issue, we're bypassing there being a pressure issue. If everything else is going well, what we're running into is equipment, right? Not necessarily your medical equipment company is not doing a good job. There's not much I can address on this video, except if you can, you may look for someone else. But kind of when do you get new supplies, right? When can you get that mask replaced? When can you get that cushion replaced? So I'm just gonna hit that real quick. That's an easy video to do. So the main thing is you got to know your replaceable parts, right? Your CPAP machine, the blower itself, is not something you're going to have replaced every year. For most commercial insurances, so when we say commercial, we're talking about Blue Cross, UHC, Aetna, those are some of the big names. They're going to be every 3 to 5 years, and some of them are not replacing the machine itself now unless the machine is broken, so the blower is broken. If you have an FMP unit, you may have a humidification issue, they may replace your unit. But even with some of them, if just the humidifier is broken, they're asking the manufacturers to replace those because they're detachable. Now, if your CPAP machine and your humidifier are attached as one unit and you've got an issue with either or, then there is the possibility that you could get a new machine, but that's always something to go to your doctor's office or your medical equipment company and follow up on that. So of course, that machine, that's a 3 to 5 year thing, and some of them now, we're looking more for a malfunction of the unit itself. So your replaceable parts are going to be, one, the mask, of course, okay? So the mask is replaceable. It has replaceable pieces on it, be it a cushion or a pillow, just depending on what style of mask you have. Tubing, filter, water chamber are going to be replaceable pieces. So I'm using FMP or Fisher & Paykel pieces just because I handle their machines a lot. I know up north that machine's not as popular, so you may not have it. You may have a Respironics or a ResMed unit. It still has a humidifier. The only thing that's going to be different is Respironics is going to have 2 different filters on it, right? So you'll have what we call the disposable filter, which is this little white piece, okay? So this one, you do not rinse it with soap and water. It's replaceable every 30 days per insurance, right? These are normally a deductible item. So just know if you have one of these $5,000 deductibles and you get on an auto ship program and your insurance is sending you one of these filters every 30 days, you're probably gonna pay for it out of pocket, right? But insurance allows you to have one every 30 days. It's something to peek at and look. Sometimes you'll look at it in 30 days, it looks brand new. Looks just like this. I always say smell a filter, and that's just my own thing. If it smells like fried chicken and that's what you eat every day, replace it, okay? A non-disposable filter is what you'll see in a Respironics unit. So normally Respironics is their new unit, it looks a little bit different. It's a blue piece, and it's a piece you can rinse with soap and water. That piece can be replaced every 6 months. They have a lighter blue one. Actually, I may have one of those. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. So this is a Respironics unit for their new filter for their new unit, right? This is their non-disposable. So it's going to be the darker blue. I don't know if you can see that. I'm doing this on my phone. It's going to be the darker blue with the hard frame. So this filter can be replaced every 6 months per insurance. You can rinse this filter with a mild soap and water, okay? So you can clean this one. They have the non-disposable filter in their units too, this little one. It's a lighter blue, a little bit thinner, and it's a little bit more flexible, okay? It sits on the disposable filter, but this one you throw away. You do not wash it with soap and water, okay? It's a throwaway. So every 30 days for this filter. every 30 days for the standard filter. A ResMed unit is going to have a little square filter in the back. It's a every 30-day filter also, okay? The other thing you're looking at replacing every 30 days or so is the cushion on the mask. So this is a nasal pillow option, right? These two little prongs sit in the nasal openings. So insurance will replace this piece every 30 days. You can have it replaced, okay? You may call your insurance company and see, I don't know if it's still this way, but they would sometimes give you 2 of these every 30 days. So let's say you have a medical equipment company that's going to send you this in 3-month cycles. That means they would send you 6, okay? So that lets you know if you can have 2 of these every month or if you can have 1. But that's something to check with your insurance, which, I mean, you always want to do that anyway. On the nasal option, so this is a nasal mask, right? Just covers the nose only. This piece comes out of the mask itself. This is an every 30-day option, right? Insurance will replace this piece every 30 days. Full face, more traditional style, right? Same thing. This piece pops out of the middle. Every 30 days, insurance will allow you to have one of these, okay? So again, it's something to check with your medical equipment provider. If you're starting to get a lot of leaking, if you start to notice a greasy film on your mask itself, or if you know you haven't changed this thing in 3 to 4 months, change it. It needs to be replaced. You put it on your face every night, okay? So those 3 pieces are once a month things. The full face mask, and someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, every 6 months, okay? So when we say the mask, you're talking about the frame. This headgear, you may be able to have it every 3 months, but most places are gonna like to send you this as a group, as a set, right? So you can get a headgear by itself, but most likely you're gonna get the headgear and the frame. So every 6 months you can have this per insurance. It's worth replacing because this piece wears out. So this may look the same in 6 months, it's hard plastic. Or if you look inside here, in the little hole where your tube needs to be attached to, right? If you look in here, sometimes there's gunk in there. So you can rinse it out, right? You'll be rinsing it at least once a week, soap and water, a mild soap and water. But after a while, it needs to be replaced. So get you a new one just twice a year, okay? This, the nasal pillow mask frame and nasal frame with its headgear, normally every 3 months, okay? So again, you can have those things replaced if you need them. You just contact your medical equipment company and let them get that for you. The last thing is the tubing. So I'm gonna use a heated hose, right? So this is your hose here. This is something you clean once a week also, right? Just mild soap and water. And really that's for all the pieces. I'll go back through them, but that's for all the pieces, mild soap and water. The heated tubing, you can have one of these every 3 to 6 months. So again, that's something to ask your insurance company just to be sure. We try and get our patients to change them at least every 6 months. If they can have one at 3 months, it's worth it. The tube, most people don't understand why they need to change it, but if you think about it, moist, humid air travels this line every night, distilled or not. It's going up through this tubing, right? Especially in the heated tube. So what you don't want is to have bacteria or anything growing in your tube. You need to get that thing replaced. So if you notice in these little gaps on the tubes, right now these are clear, but you'll start to notice as your tube needs to be replaced, this piece will get kind of floppy on you. You'll be able to do it like this and it'll just flop around, so it'll thin out some on the end, and you'll start to notice a cloudiness in between the gaps. So that can come from where you're hanging it over the shower. If you leave any soap scum in it, if you have it in direct sunlight, sometimes you'll see that plastic start to fade or cloud up on you a little bit. It just needs to be replaced. So every 3 to 6 months on the tubing. The last piece is a water chamber, and I don't have one. So your water chamber is the little piece that goes in your humidifier that you actually pour the distilled water into. That piece needs to be replaced every 6 months, okay? As far as cleaning goes, we tell everyone, or I tell everyone, at least once a week with soap and water. If you use a nasal pillow, so if you use this little thing, and it's in your nose every night, right? And you wake up and you've left part of your friends on that nasal pillow, wipe it off. All right, don't come back the next night and put it back in your nose. Wipe it off. Just use a mild soap and water. A mild soap can be like a baby shampoo. I like to use Blue Dawn on it. Don't use antibacterial soaps on them. If you don't feel comfortable using a Blue Dawn, you can use the Ivory soap. You don't want any antibacterial soaps on the mask itself because it wears these cushions out for whatever reason. So you end up needing to replace these more often. But at least once a week with soap and water. Get this piece and the frame itself. Get the whole thing in a sink of soap and water. Agitate it, let it soak, agitate it. Same thing with your tube and your water chamber, okay? Get those things in soap and water once a week. People are afraid to get this thing in soap and water because of the endings, but as long as you get it dry, it's fine, right? So get it in the soap and water. I tend to get one end and let it fill with water and then go back and forth with it. Attach it to the faucet and let it run clear and then let it hang dry, okay? These things take a long time to dry because they're kind of ribbed. So what you may run into is you washed it Saturday morning, you come back Saturday night, you're ready to use your CPAP and it's got water droplets. Make sure your connection is dry, right? Connect it to your CPAP machine and I let them blow. A lot of the CPAP machines now will turn themselves off, so it won't be able to blow too long, but just let it blow because you don't want it to blow water droplets into your nose when you first start using it, okay? So a quick recap. The filter and the nasal pillow or cushion, you can normally replace those every 30 days. If you have a non-disposable filter, so if you're using a Respironics unit, you may have a filter that needs to be replaced every 6 months instead of every 30 days. The mask itself, if it's a nasal mask or a nasal pillow mask, you can have one of those every 3 months. It's a full face mask, so if it's any type of mask that's going to cover nose and mouth, or it runs under the nose and covers the mouth, or if it has two little pieces here that cover the mouth and then a piece that covers the mouth, that's going to be every 6 months, okay? The water chamber, it's going to be every 6 months, and the tubing is every 3 to 6 months. I think you can still get a standard tube, so if your tube's not heated, I really think you can still get one of those every 3 months. But every 3 to 6 months for the tubing itself. If there's any questions, please feel free. Ask me questions in the comments. I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. If there's anything that you need to know or want to know about, let me know. Send me a message. I'll try and get you a video made about it. Thanks.